Today we are going to talk, first of all, about value. Now, in order to talk about value, we have to talk about gradation. So the first thing we need to know is how to shade. And if we're shading, there's a lot of different techniques, but using a pencil, there's a basic one that we can do. First of all, if I have just a basic shape and I want to shade it, I want to make sure that my strokes are nice and consistent. I am hardly touching the pencil. Look at how I'm holding it so loosely, very lightly. I can hold it like this, or I can use a lobster grip where I'm holding it between my middle finger and my thumb. This part is here, and then I hold it like this, and then I can use the side. But that is going to give a rougher texture, which you can already see. So for me, I prefer, when I'm doing this, to go into this kind of area, and I'm going to hold it lightly and use the tip. Now, part of this is, this pencil is sharp, but it's not sharp enough. So you have to make sure that your pencil is sharp. Because this paper, if you looked under a microscope, you would see that it's bumpy. And if I've got a really big, thick nib like this, it's only going to put the color here and it can't get into here. And that's why your shading looks inconsistent. But if I have a sharp pencil, that can get in here and it can lay the color nicely here. So that's what you want to do. You want to press lightly because otherwise you're going to flatten that paper and that's when you can't erase. So, loosely holding it, lightly, and if you go too dark, just take the pencil and then go boop, like that, so that it's up higher and you will draw lighter. Now to get a gradation, I'm going to have this nice little area here, and I will go very lightly in one direction. Now, I am making sure that I'm going evenly and consistent, because if I go like this all over the place, it looks like scribble scrabble, and I have all these dark areas and light and I can't get consistent shading. Also, I'm not worrying about the edges because I can erase later. So the first thing I do is very lightly, I shade my area, all one direction. I'm also keeping it light, and I'm not trying to press harder at the edges. So when I'm shading, I'm almost kind of like rocking it back and forth and lifting it up a little bit at the edges. Now, I want to go and have this next part darker. So instead of pressing harder, I'm just going to start, and I'm going to leave this open, and I'm going to start again. I'm going to do my next layer. And you'll see that my layer now makes that darker, and it's still nice and consistent. If I want to go darker, I can very lightly start again. And each time, I leave more space. The angle I hold the pencil at will also make it darker. So on this one, to make it darker, I'm just going to leave more space, and I'm going to hold this up slightly more of an angle. And you'll see how consistent this is getting. Now I'm going to skip more space, hold it a little bit closer, a little bit more of an angle. And I'm not pressing, because if I need to erase, if I'm pressing lightly, my paper is still happy, so I can always erase. Now I'm going to do it again, and this time I'm just going to lightly fade it. I want a little dark there, so I'm going to have to fade that out. There we go. And then I'll do it again. And then I'll go again. Holding it almost perpendicular to the sheet. And now all I have to do is take my eraser, like this, like this. Erase what I don't need. I'll erase this edge. And I have a graded scale. I'm going to go back in and just get a little bit of lighter here. And there we go. That is how you do a gradation value scale.